non-serious event, a PR stunt.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Astronaut.
You're not an astronaut.
You're not an astronaut.
You're not an astronaut. You cannot be anything you want.
That's a dick rocket that was designed, flown, and paid for by men, and you are simply baggage on that rocket.
These women did nothing. Truly, they could not have possibly done less for this 11-minute voyage.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, you have never said to an astronaut, boy, what a ride. No one called that a ride. It was called a flight. It was called a journey. Because a ride implies that it's something frivolous or something that's lighthearted. There was nothing frivolous about what we did.
You better be inspired, and if you call it a ride, you're a sexist pig.
The moon! You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon.
Look at the moon. It's dark. Days!
They are not astronauts. That it's all fake. It's not real.
Nothing historic happened here at all. They were not the first female astronauts because they aren't astronauts.
It wasn't for commercial gain. It wasn't to promote Amazon. It wasn't with some woman with her tits hanging out who needed a little extra attention.
Fake door opening here on the pristine capsule without any burn marks on it.
Katy!
She was in space, technically, for like the blink of an eye, and then she kissed the dirt and she came down and talked about, the strength man.
His first little rocket looks exactly like a penis. I think he's like working out his sexual fantasies on us.
Jeff Bezos went out there with a special little tool and fake opened the door. Notice the door accidentally opened.
Now, so they go up there and they float for like 10 minutes and then they come down.
Let's not minimize this. Let's celebrate female astronauts.
And
Nobody believes this. Nobody was proud of this moment. Nobody thought that Katy Perry is an astronaut in her little scuba suit there. Nobody believes that she did anything brave.
I don't think you can describe it because, what I was saying, it was like quiet, but then also really alive.
Boinking a billionaire and getting a free ticket to space for 11 minutes. It was flat, but quiet.
Katy shot it up in space.
But this was really not women in space. It was stupid people in space. This was the lowest IQ space crew that has ever been launched from Earth.
So it was cool. They took a very, very expensive, very, very cool roller coaster ride that technically put them into space.
I will never be the same. I mean, when you get up there and you see the Earth, and it's so beautiful, and it just fills the screen. And it's not just your window. It's like everybody's window, and there's no boundaries, there's no border. There's just Earth.
You didn't perform any duties. You didn't do anything. You were just luggage.
Katy Perry, I just want to congratulate you on being the first astronaut to sing in space for real.
What did they do? They got in their special Oscar de la Renta designed suits, lay down in a capsule, and came back in 10 minutes, you guys.
Imagine this. The first all-female crew in history is about to launch into space. Not just a milestone, but a moment that could rewrite the story of women in science forever.
3 minutes. This is a 3-minute dick rocket ride, and all they did the entire time was film themselves.
It's over the top.
This is what a pod returning from Earth looks like. It is flamed out like a burnt marshmallow. This is what the fake-ass space flight pod looked like when it came back. It was pristine. Looks like it hadn't been touched.
What really went down? Buckle up, because this wasn't just a space mission. It was one of the most overhyped, overly dramatic launches we've seen in years. What started as a bold step into history quickly spiraled into a story no one saw coming, and definitely not the history anyone was hoping for.
Katy Perry probably burned $50 million with this stunt to take a dildo to space. Well, it was all fake.
They had nothing to do with any of the engineering. They're just looking for famous faces who could draw attention to Jeff Bezos' weird little rocket.
Look at this. She was desperately trying to sell tickets.
6 women, 1 rocket, and a launch that was supposed to make history. Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin sends an all-female crew into space. Sounds like a giant leap for womankind, right? At least that's the story the media was pushing. Headlines were glowing, hashtags were flying, but behind the shiny celebration, things weren't quite as groundbreaking as they seemed.
And this one looks exactly like a breast with the nipple on the top. Look at this one.
We duplicated the same
an astronaut
trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day.
First of all, Alan Shepard walked on the moon, Gail? You did not fucking walk on the moon. It's like a igloo if you wanted to be charitable. To me, it looks like a breast. From above, it really looks like a breast with a nipple.
This mission was hyped as a massive step forward, but here's the twist. It lasted just 11 minutes, and only 4 of those were spent in zero gravity. That's right, shorter than a single episode of your favorite show. So when it was over, the applause? Yeah, it wasn't quite the standing ovation they were hoping for. More like a collective, wait, that's it?
I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
I'm officially a firefighter. I'm officially a surgeon. I'm an electrician.
I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you.
How many billions of dollars did you just spend that could have gone to climate change? And you come down from your 30-second orbit in space and you kiss the ground and you say, we need to thank Mother Earth. We need to save the planet. You just fucking...
Now here's where things really start to feel off. The media didn't say, hey, check out these women taking a quick space vacation. Oh no, they went full-on empowerment mode. This was hyped as a monumental feminist victory, a moment meant to inspire girls everywhere to quite literally shoot for the stars. The messaging? Clear. This was supposed to be a defining chapter, proof that women belong in spacesuits just as much as men. But with such a short, commercial-style flight, the reality didn't quite match the mission statement.
Thanks, Jeff. It was one small step for women, one giant leap for my lifetime's tour. By the way, it's Captain Perry now.
You said that you needed to go to space to heal. I know you're only a few minutes removed from this incredible experience. Do you feel healed?
She literally is calling herself an astronaut. She doesn't understand why we don't celebrate her.
But here's the spoiler. This wasn't the empowering sisterhood of space exploration we were promised. Let's talk expectations. Because when you hear historic all-female crew, you imagine something big, a multi-day orbit, maybe some cutting-edge research, something that makes you sit back and think, yes, this is why space missions matter. Instead, we got 11 minutes of what felt like a glorified space tourist ride. No science, no real mission. Just a quick up and down that left a lot of people asking, was that really it?
Space exploration was to further our knowledge and to help mankind. I mean, what are they going to do up there that has made it better for us down here?
Calling this a crew or implying that this is some revolutionary, big glass ceiling breaking win for women is basically complete bullshit.
So yeah, it didn't take long for the internet to start roasting the whole thing. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. Why did I think they'd be in space for a few days? Not 4 minutes? And honestly, who could blame them? This wasn't the revolutionary, world-changing mission we were sold. It felt more like a luxury weekend escape, just with zero gravity and $1 million price tag. And then, of course, there was Katy Perry. Because if anyone was going to make space look fun, flashy, and empowering, it was a pop star known for fireworks, cotton candy, and glitter cannons, not orbital science.
Claim Katy Perry's hair proves the flight was fake. It doesn't look like what happens when you're in actual zero gravity. This is what an astronaut's hair looks like in zero gravity.
There have been civilians to go up too. They wear actual spacesuits. They go through real training, not 2 days of learning how to buckle your seatbelt, which is literally what they did.
Katy Perry jumped in with peak pop star energy, saying space was about to be glam. Time to put the ass back in astronaut. 2 days of training and boom, you're ready to launch. Forget the decades of intense training, the simulations, the engineering degrees. Apparently all it takes now is a sparkly outfit and a media campaign. Because why sweat through NASA boot camp when you can just treat space like it's Coachella with a helmet?
Because a lot of men astronauts, they have to go to school. They have to learn how to be a pilot first. They have to join the Air Force the Navy, and they get appointed by NASA.
That's right.
And then they go to space.
But here's the real kicker. This isn't NASA. This is Blue Origin, a for-profit space tourism company. Their mission? Make space accessible, but only if you've got $200,000 to $500,000 lying around. Let's just sit with that for a second. How many people can actually afford that? Maybe the top 1%? Maybe. So sure, it's empowering if you're already living in a different galaxy tax bracket. Meanwhile, while Katy Perry's out here selling us the dream of glam space travel, the rest of us are just trying to survive rent hikes and student loans.
You know, I'm very disappointed and very saddened by it. And I also say this, what it's doing to inspire other women and young girls, please don't ignore that.
If you don't call them sheroes, you're a sex Texas pig.
Chosen by the second richest man on the planet who put his fiance along with Katy Perry on this flight. It was a cringe fest from start to finish.
You know, it's so funny. She said she's heard from women and girls who have said to her, I didn't realize this is something I could do. You know how I know that didn't happen, Megyn? Because it's not something they could do. Because they're not friends with Jeff Bezos, right? Like,
folks online, News Nation points out, responded, no, Gail, I'm trying to buy eggs. Gail, if I had that money, I'd be paying off the mortgage on my house.
And it's not just everyday people raising eyebrows. Celebrities are chiming in too. Emily Ratajkowski didn't hold back, calling out the mission as nothing more than another flashy billionaire ego trip. Emily Ratajkowski highlighted just how ridiculous it all is. Billionaires launching themselves into space while the planet back home is literally in crisis mode. And then came the unexpected twist. Wendy's, yes, the fast food chain, jumped on Twitter and roasted Katy Perry after her space jaunt. That tweet, instant classic.
Space mission this morning, that's end time shit. Like, this is beyond parody. For what was the marketing there? And then to try to make it like, I'm disgusted. Literally, I'm disgusted.
Wendy's the restaurant, completely roasting the heck out of Katy Perry for what she did.
Guys, last second, they added me to space, and I'm going to space. I'm bringing this. It was in my bag, and I was like on the subway, and I got the text, and they were like, do you want to go to space? So I'm going to space.
The crew who flew in space this week on an automated flight by Blue Origin were glam, but you cannot identify as an astronaut.
But here's the real kicker. If this whole mission had just been sold as a fun celebrity space joyride, no one would have cared. The backlash started because they packaged it like some historic leap for women in space. The messaging got way too serious. Like they were out here changing the course of history. It came off more like, look at us, we're so empowering. And people weren't buying it.
He came back and he said, wow, you know, we're so small vis-a-vis the universe. Like the most banal, look at us, we're very wealthy. Don't we look great? Admire us.
And then she goes on and says, yeah, I'm still a little humble. I don't really want to call myself an astronaut, even though I am. What do they think people in this country are how they're gonna react to that sort of thing? And
buckling the seatbelt, getting in and out of the vessel, and learning how to press the button so they could speak to mission control. That doesn't make you an astronaut.
So why did it all flop? Honestly, if they just pitched it as a glamorous space getaway for the rich and famous, it might have passed as an entertaining sideshow. But the moment they wrapped it in a glittery, feminist bow, expectations skyrocketed. People want real impact with their empowerment, not just a photo shoot in zero gravity. And in the end, this mission just didn't have the substance to back up the message. Sure, this flight might go down as a moment in history, but let's be honest, it wasn't the moment we were promised. Maybe it should have just owned what it really was. A luxury joyride for the elite, not some inspiring call for the next generation of young girls to shoot for the stars. So what's the real takeaway? Was the backlash actually justified? Or did the internet just jump the gun on roasting a tone-deaf PR stunt? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Seriously, I read them all. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more no-fluff takes on the stories everyone's talking about. I'll catch you in the next one.